Very good morning, children. We are discussing about the topic file handling. So far in file handling we have discussed about the various functions to open and close the file, and in the previous session we have discussed about read and write functions, that is various functions to read and write the contents into the file and the contents from the file. So that is what we have discussed so far in file handling. In today's session we are going to discuss about three small topics in file handling. Okay, the topics are the standard input, output and error streams, Python data files with which statement, and what do you mean by relative and absolute path. So these are all the topics that we are going to discuss. So after the discussion of these topics we are going to discuss lot of book back exercises, because those are the exercises, that is the board pattern questions we are going to discuss. Okay, that is the plan for today. The first topic that we are going to discuss is that standard input, output and error streams. What do you mean by streams? Streams in general, it is a stream of water, but in computer terminology stream means it is a sequence of bytes. For a computer it just need a stream of bytes, that is we are going to give the information to the computer, it is going to process and then it will give you the output. So here the point is the computer, it will whatever the form of input that you have, you can give it in any way. You can give the input either through the keyboard or through the file or through any of the, you must have studied lot of input devices. So whatever may be the input device, from the input device it is going to get the data, and everything it is going to be in a form of sequence of bytes, and that sequence of bytes will be processed by your computer. So here we are just going to understand what do you mean by standard input, output and error streams, and how it has been handled in Python. That is what we are going to understand. So here STDIN, what is STDIN? Stands for standard input device. So what is a standard input device? You must have already studied in your earlier class. It is a keyboard. That is normally whenever we write, write any program, you are giving input through the keyboard, and the computer, in the computer, not only in the programming language, for any other purpose, we are giving the input through the keyboard. So the keyboard, it is considered to be the standard input device. Okay, so and then STD out stands for standard output device. So the normal standard output device, that is what from where you will be able to see the result, the processed result is monitor. So your monitor is considered to be the standard output device. And STDERR stands for standard error device, that is the place where you can see the errors that occurred in the computer. Again it is a monitor. In the monitor only you are viewing all the errors. Okay, so in these are all the standard input and output devices, that is your keyboard and monitor. Okay, these are the standard input and output devices. And in Python the standard input and output and error devices are implemented as files called standard streams. Okay, so this is actually new to you. So that is not only it will not for according to Python everything is a file. Okay, your keyboard, it is a file, your mouse, it is a file, your monitor, it is a file, your printer, it is a file. So everything is a file. Okay, file, it is not just the file that is being stored in the computer, it is a you can imagine that as the source from where you are getting the input from. Okay, so everything will be considered as a file. So here in Python your standard streams, or your keyboard is your keyboard and monitors are called as standard streams, and these standard streams will also be considered as a file. That is what you need to understand. The standard streams are available in sys module. So we have earlier also we have used this sys module for some purpose, and sys.stdin.read. Okay, so this in that module in stdin we have a read function which will lets you read from the keyboard. we have already using a function called input, which lets you to read from the keyboard. So this is another way of reading the information from the keyboard. To read the information from the keyboard, you can also write this particular statement. So sys.stdin.read, that lets you read from the keyboard, and sys dot, it is not capital S, it is only small s, because in Python everything, all the keywords, everything will be in small letter only, so it is just my mistake. Okay, so it is sys.stdout.write, so that will let you to write into the monitor. Okay, not only your print function, using this statement also you will be able to write it into the monitor. That is what you are learning new in this particular topic. So look at the small example here. Import sys. Okay, so sys module, it is not by default, you have to import it. It is not a built-in module. This module, it is available, so which comes along with your Python software, and then you just need to specify the statement. So after that, a is equal to sys.stdin.read of 5. So what is the meaning of this particular statement? So here I am reading 5 bytes from the inputs. Okay, so we have already learned about read function. Do you remember? So read without any arguments, it will read the complete file. So if you specify the number, it will read the number of bytes. So here I have given 5. So sys.stdin.read of 5. So if you give this statement, it will prompt you, that is, it will wait for you to enter some information, and it will read 5 bytes from you, that is 5 characters you will be able to enter. Okay, so and then sys.stdout.write of a. Okay, so whatever the value that you are giving, that you are storing in a, and you are trying to print a. So here I have given the input as Daya, and then I'm whatever the, because it is just having only 5 characters, the same value will be printed. Okay, so instead of input and then print statement, so here I am using sys.stdin.read and then sys.stdout.write. Okay, so as a file, how it is working. Okay, you are understanding that particular concept here. Okay, so look at the another example here. What I have tried is that, so I am reading the content from the file, okay, using a read and write functions, and then I am going to write it on the monitor, not using a print function. Okay, that is the idea. Without using input function, without using print function. Normally those are all the functions which we are using to read the information from the user and write into the monitor. So here we are using some other functions, okay, to read and write into the monitor. Okay, so imports is file is equal to open of test1.txt. so by default it is a read mode. So and then the name of the file handle is file. So L1 is equal to file.readline. What is the purpose of read line? So read line, it will read up to new line character. So the first line of the file will be read, and you are storing it in L1, and then L2 is equal to file.readline. So it will read the second line from the file, and you are storing it in L2. So here instead of print statement, I am using sys.stdout.write. Okay, so sys.stdout.write of L1. Okay, and then sys.stdout.write of L2. Okay, so write function, it will accept the information as a string. So you are passing a string, that is readline function. It will also read a line from the file, and then it will return, the return type of the readline function is string. So I am passing the string as an argument to a write function. So here the first line of the file test1.txt is hi everyone, and the second line is stay safe. So that is being displayed. Okay, so here what we have learned is, so in Python, your standard input and output devices are keyboard and then monitor, and those two devices will also be considered as a file. So considering the file, how it is being treated, that is what we have learned. Is that okay, dear? The next topic is Python data files with statement. That is, we are going to learn about with statement. What is with statement? With, it is a statement in Python, is used in exception handling. We have discussed a very little bit about exception handling, that is try and finally block, that we have discussed a long back. Okay, so we have to write whatever the code in a try block, and whatever the error occurs, possible errors occurs, we will be addressing that in a finally statement. Okay, we didn't discuss much, but just understand what is the purpose of which statement is that. Normally it simplifies the management of common resources like file streams. That is, so when we have talked about file handling, that is where when we have talked about open and close functions. Okay, so whenever you open a file, you must close the file without fail, because if you forget to close the file, then it will cause unwanted damages to the file. Okay, so it is very important that whenever you open a file, you must close the file. So with the help of with statement, what we are going to understand is that how the with statement is helpful in managing the file streams in file handling. With the help of with statement, that will help you to close the file automatically without the close statement. That is, you need not explicitly write the close statement. So if you open it, okay, well, please look at the syntax here. With is a keyword, and then open of file name, you are just normal open function, you are specifying, and then as a file handle. Okay, and then you're creating the file handle, and under that you have to write all the file manipulation statement. Okay, you look at that. So there is a semicolon at the end, which means that that is a block of statement that you're going to create. So inside this you can write what are all the file manipulation, what are all the statements that you wanted to write. So you can write that. So after that, when you come out of this particular block, the particular file that you have created, that will be automatically closed. Okay, normally with it is used for a number of purpose, but here this syntax is given in the perspective of file handling. Okay, this is not the actual syntax, this is the syntax with respect to file handling. Okay, so the with statement will automatically close the file after the nested block or code. Okay, so if you are opening the file wherever it is. Okay, so if you are opening the file wherever you are using, whether it is a nested block or inside the block, wherever it is, it will close when it comes out. That is the point. And then the advantage of using with statement is that it guarantees to close the file. It will, without the close statement, it will close. Okay, that is the point. Okay, so here look at the example with open of pom.txt. You can specify the file mode. If you do not specify the file mode, it is read. Okay, as file, here file is a file object or a file handle name, and then print of file dot read. Okay, so when you do that, the content of pom.txt will be printed. So with that, I have not written any close statement, that is file dot close. I didn't write. Okay, you need not write. So even without that, the file will be closed properly. That is the purpose of with statement. So the next topic is absolute and then relative path. So in an open function, you have to specify the complete path of the file name that you are trying to open. That is, whether if you want to read or write, you have to specify the complete path. That we have already discussed. Okay, so with relevant to that, we are just going to understand two different terminologies, that is absolute and then relative path. First of all, what do you mean by path? So path is a sequence of directory names which give you a hierarchy to access a particular directory or a file name. That is called as it is a sequence of directory names in which order you have created the folders. Okay, so that is your path. So what do you mean by path name? Path name, it is nothing but it is the full name of a file. Okay, if you are having 4.py, so what is the full name of that? Okay, so from the root directory till the file, what are all the inner folders? Okay, so with the complete name, it is called as a full name or the path name. So what do you mean by absolute path? So absolute path is nothing but these are the paths from the topmost level of the directory structure. So topmost level in the sense that is your drive, from there C drive or D drive or E drive or F drive, whatever, from the root directory and till the file name, what are all the folders, okay, that are available, okay, you have to specify the complete names, okay. So the complete path, that is called as a absolute path, okay. So how to write the absolute path for 4.py? So it is d:/project/project2/4.py, okay. So this is the absolute path specifying the file name, that is specifying the names from the topmost directory, that is from the root directory till the file name, that is your absolute path, okay. So next one is relative path. What do you mean by relative path? The relative paths are relative to current working directory, okay. So current working directory in the sense that is, so say for example, whenever you execute the Python, okay, so it will be normally executed, there will be a default folder. Normally when you open a word, and then by default it will be stored in my documents, okay, so which will be in C, program files, documents, something like that, okay. So from the current folder, how to specify the names, okay. So if you specify the name relative to the current directory, then it is called as a relative path. So to specify the relative path, okay, so you have to understand two notations, that is dot notation. If you specify dot, that it then it denotes current working directory, okay, while its parent directory is denoted with two dots, okay. So if you specify dot, it denotes the current directory, and if you specify two dots, that specify the parent directory. That is, with the help of these two notations, you have to specify the relative path for the files. So for example, 4.py, okay, how to write the relative path for 4.py? So if here look at this, your project 2 being the current working directory. So my current working directory, currently I am in project 2. So in that case, how to specify the path for 4.py is, it is dot denotes the current working directory. What is the current working directory? Project 2. So in project 2 4.py, okay. So this is how you have to write in a absolute path from the topmost directory till the file name, you have to specify. So here in relative path, you have to specify the file name relative to the current directory, okay. So here 4.py, that is Python file. So to specify the name, okay, the with the project 2 being the current working directory, so it is enough to specify dot/4.py, okay. So how to specify test.dat? So test.dat, this is the file. So what is my current directory? It is project 2. So in the project 2, you have to go back to the project, that is parent folder, you have to go. So to specify the parent folder, here you have to denote two dots, okay. So my current working directory is project 2, okay. So my test.dat, it is not present in the project 2 directory, so it is present in the parent of project 2. So to go to the project, that is parent of project 2, you have to specify two dots. So two dots means it is project. So once you go to that, so from the project it is test.dat. So the path for test.dat with project 2 being the current working directory is dot/test.dat, okay. So and then if you are how to specify the path for 2.py, so then here again project 2 being the current working directory, so from the project 2 you have to go back to the project, that is parent directory. So in the parent directory again you have to come down, that is project dot/project1 and then 1.py or 2.py, whatever, okay. So this is how you have to specify the paths to the file names, right?